Hello, I'm Kristen Lyons, and today I'm answering the question, what makes educational and school psychologists leaders in evidence-based intervention? As scientists, educational psychologists use measurement tools to test hypotheses. The goal of this study was to determine if the PSW methods were interchangeable in regards to identifying LDs. Educational psychologists applied intervention strategies, collected data, and analyzed data in order to determine if their hypothesis was correct. As educational and school psychologists do, numerous tests were used because the use of one test is just unethical. PSW methods are often presented interchangeably, but by analyzing these results, they are not really interchangeable. McKayek and the other authors state the use of multiple indicators results in greater sensitivity and minimizes false negatives. The utilization of multiple final status indicators directly addresses the fundamental question of whether a student requires additional intervention and is sensitive to students that demonstrate specific needs, specific reading deficits because multiple reading skills are assessed. Studying and learning the most productive intervention plans can benefit students and teachers in regards to reading comprehension and intervention strategies. With the emphasis on high-stakes testing in our society, even though there are so many people against it, that type of testing, it isn't going away anytime soon. This study is an example of how educational and school psychologists can help in this situation by studying those that do need the extra help and developing intervention strategies for them to experience success in the high-stakes testing arena. This evidence-based school intervention study demonstrates how educational and school psychologists are leaders in that area. In a different article, Ambrose asked Berliner to elaborate on his meaning behind high-stakes testing and create a side. Berliner stated that 4 effects take place when important consequences are associated with tests. With high-stakes testing, there's an increase in cheating and gaming, which makes the scores invalid. Gaming includes dropping students from school just before testing, working almost exclusively with those students that are near to the passing score, teaching to the test directly, and for long periods of time. Berliner says that high-stakes testing goes along with Campbell's law, that any time you put too much value on an indicator, such as a test score, people will do bad things to keep that indicator looking good. Because of the gaming, students lose time in their creativity classes to have more time in the tested areas, courses of math and reading. This is where Berliner's term create-a-side comes from. Another effect of high-stakes testing is the need to keep costs low. Berliner says to keep costs low, there's an over-reliance on multiple choice items that rarely assess higher cognitive processes, which cannot elicit creative responses. Creative responses can be through poetry, debate, rap, writing, discussions, portfolios, and the list just goes on. By narrowing the testing of competency to multiple choice, create-a-side is fostered by high-stakes testing policies. The fourth effect is the narrowing of concepts of what it means to be smart. Berliner says to be smart in the school is almost exclusively to be a high scorer on multiple choice tests of reading, language arts, and mathematics. Creativity is not valued because some of those skills fall outside the areas of language arts and mathematics. After reading this interview, I have discovered that I really like Berliner. His perspective on educational policy and life in general are to the point, and he doesn't hold back his true thoughts. It was interesting when he stated that even in his highest held positions in education, he still wasn't given the time of day to participate in public debates surrounding our vast and varied U.S. educational system. I think that hits on that point that you stated in the video, Dr. Stevens. Though educational psychologists have all this information and all this research, we can't do anything with it if the proper people won't listen to some of the top educational psychologists in the United States, let alone a local educational and school psychologist. We might be respected in the field of education, but that doesn't guarantee that we'll influence policies at the local, state, and national level. Another area that caught my attention was Berliner's statement of what had to happen before an educational system could be the best. He realizes the outside factors that influence the school environment, which I believe is crucial. There's no way to make a perfect school environment without addressing the outside factors that affect students. Understanding his perspectives helps me to see that educational and school psychologists look at both inside and outside factors that affect school interventions. In a different article, Nichols and Berliner believe that there are 5 reasons as to why Campbell's law has come into play in contemporary American life. First, business dominates much of American life, and its influence in government has risen. Because of this influence, basic business models have been applied to our schools in order to monitor productivity, increase it, and then determine how to increase productivity without spending more money. The way that productivity has been chosen to be measured in the school system is through tests. The business community believed that lazy teachers and students would be discovered and made to work harder. For many, this process made sense, except it didn't take into account that students are multifaceted beings, not just parts that can be counted. Plus, Nichols and Berliner say, when input cannot be controlled, it's hard to assess a process by its outputs. With classroom dynamics and high mobility rates, teachers are being held accountable for factors they cannot control. For my personal experience, I'll never forget my first day of in-service teaching at the high school level. The principal at my school, during our first meeting of the year, told all of the teachers that if we worked for Dell, we'd be fired because of the lack of productivity that was demonstrated through our test scores. He went on to compare business productivity statistics to our tax scores. Obviously, he was a very business-focused principal. It was only my second year of teaching, and I was shocked. I didn't know what to think. Then I listened to the veteran teachers in the audience say, under their breath, well, we don't work for Dell. We're teachers doing the best that we can. I also remember sitting through Margaret Kilgo training and breaking down release test questions one by one and building lesson plans from those findings so that we knew our lesson plans aligned directly with the test questions. Unfortunately, this is the state of the education system. Even when teachers do not want to teach to the test, they're required to do so in order to keep their jobs. As educational and school psychologists, we can use evidence-based research to try and slowly implement different programs and strategies to the learning environment in hopes that the different levels of hierarchy will see that there are other ways of imparting knowledge on students. As educational and school psychologists, studying different interventions and providing the research support for those interventions is crucial. With our research, we can help teachers develop strategies to help engage learners, increase desired behaviors, decrease undesired behaviors, and improve classroom management. Research examples such as the one in this article and several other articles demonstrate why educational and school psychologists are leaders in evidence-based school interventions. Thank you.